Hi guys, I came to Gosport today, just look around if we found something interesting. Wow, what's that? Look at that, it's a real submarine. We go and have a look at this submarine inside and outside. Come with me, hope you will like what I show you today. This huge propeller was fitted on one submarine. Unsure which submarine was. Just look at the size. Compared to Skoda Octavia next to, which, Skoda Octavia isn't a tiny car. Still looks huge. It's amazing. This is a search and rescue submarine. Look at this. Look at these arms in the front. It's meant to be picking up things from the seabed. In the middle there was the operator. Until 2006, the Royal Navy operated the United Kingdom Submarine Rescue Service. And this submarine in front of us, it started using from 1976 until 1996. The length a bit more than 8 meter, the beam 3 meter over 3 meter, the weight nearly 18 tons. The speed 2 knots. Speed it's 1 knot. The maximum of 1500 feet, so approximately 12 hours could stay under water, is depending on the crew. And this thing also could dive up to 1500 feet down into the sea. Maximum I think 72 hours was could stay under the water, but I think it's very long time for one person in this little cabin. Been used in the 1980s, I believe in the early 80s. Look inside. It's not a lot of room. It's obviously it's enough for one person, but I think up to 72 hours, it's a long time in here. Claustrophobic a bit. This tower was a 55-meter long submarines tower, which been served in 1915 and 1916. The range of this submarine was 3000 miles. This was the longest serving weapon. Was used between 1928 until 1988. The range was over 4.5 kilometer. Overall length is 6.5 meter. Diameter is 21 inch, and it's over 1500 kilogram. The speed, maximum speed for this torpedo was 40 knots. let's go inside the HMS Alliance submarine and we can dive in all of the details what we can know about this submarine.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
Come on in, please. Come on in. I think we've got quite a large group coming in. Is this your first submarine?
No.
Been here last year once, but it was just a quick visit.
Oh, right. Well, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. Welcome on board. No restrictions on photography on board, so please take as many pictures as you like of anything you want. There is one computer on board. It's clockwork. The Russians have already seen it, so we're good. Alliance entered service in 1947. She was a running submarine up until 1973. She then became a harbour training ship for HMS Dolphin, which is the Royal Navy Submarine School, which was that bit of land over there, but no more. And then she became a museum ship in the early 1980s. She had a crew of 65, 5 officers and 60 ratings. When they were at sea, they would work 6 hours on, 6 hours off. There are 37 beds on board. So the officers have 5 of those beds, so that leaves 32 beds between 60 people. So you're hot bunk. You come off watch, you find an empty bed and climb into it, and that's yours. Till you get out of it, of course, and it's somebody else's when they get in behind you. But at least they've left it nice and warm for you.
That's the good point.
That's the only good point.
Yes, it's true.
As you walk through, you'll see the bunks that are actually on the passageway have curtains. And that, when you get into bed and close the curtains, is the only moment of privacy you'll ever get on board a submarine. But that's the only good thing about those bunks, because they're only 6 foot long, and it's not a proper bunk space because you've got the curvature of the hull, you've got valves, all the sticky out bits in there. So if you're over 6 foot tall, then part of you sticks out into the passageway to get knocked by people as they walk past as well, just to add to the fun. So the submarine is diesel electric. It's designed to be mostly on the surface, running on diesel engines. Batteries are really rubbish for doing anything. So you'll notice this submarine, and its ilk are more ship-shaped than modern nuclear submarines. Modern nuclear submarines are teardrop. They are pure cylinders. When they go to sea, they roll like a pig on a wet blanket. So as soon as they get to sea, they dive and they stay underwater till they get back to port again. These things are designed to do long transits on the surface. So it's got a keel, it's got stabilizers, it's got a sharp bow at the front, it's got a cruiser stern at the back. It's designed to be on the surface, running on diesels most of the time with the hatches open, because diesels need a lot of air. It's only when you get to where you want to be, or until you have to, that you dive. Then you switch to your electric motor and run on batteries. Now, the batteries will last you 36 hours maybe if you look after them nicely, at which point they have to be recharged, which means running the diesels. So you can either surface and open the hatches, which is a bit of a giveaway for trying to be a submarine really, or you can stay dived and raise a thing called a snort mast. It's a hollow tube with a ball on top, same as when you go snorkeling in the swimming pool. You can then run your diesel engines, air is sucked down through that, and you can recharge your batteries while you remain dived. But diesel engines are very noisy, submarines like to be very quiet and sneaky, so you do that as little as possible. But the first thing we can run out of is diesel fuel. Second thing we can run out of is fresh water. They cannot make fresh water on board these submarines. Modern nuclear submarines have a big bucket sunshine, they've got all the power they need to make fresh water, and they do. These things have a finite amount. Whatever you take to sea is all you're going to have for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So you can only use it for cooking and drinking, washing your hands and face, and brushing your teeth. So there's one shower on board, but you're not allowed to use it, so you're not going to be showering for the next 4 or 5 weeks. And there's no laundry on board, so you're not going to have any clean clothes for the next 4 or 5 weeks either. So they got kind of funky on board, these things, after a while. And they smoked as well to add to the general funkiness. And they're not allowed to use deodorants. They're still not allowed to use deodorants on submarines because they're hydrocarbons. So they did get quite smelly.
I'm not allowed to shave then?
They generally didn't shave, no.
So it was a thick smoke and a strong smell.
Yes. And all
Sounds
this white stuff would have been yellow with nicotine, and they'd have to wash it off occasionally.
I can imagine how yellow.
Especially in the watch-keeping positions. In fact, when you go down to the control room, see the watch-keeping positions, have a look and you see the ashtrays next to them so they can smoke while they're on watch. And the last thing we can run out of on board these boats is food, because they can't make food on a submarine. I'm sure somebody's thinking about it somewhere, but they still can't. So there is a small fridge on here for meat and dairy, but they're cooking for 65 people 3 times a day, so that soon runs out. And then after that, you're living on tinned, boxed and powdered food. You see we've got examples of it all around this compartment. And compartments like this and passageways like that, they put a layer of boxes on the deck, and they would walk on the boxes until they're taken away to be used in the galley to get as much food as they can on board. And they still do that now on modern submarines, but now they've given it a posh name and they call it a false deck. Are there any questions at the moment?
Any weight limitations within a submarine?
You mean for people?
No, for everything.
Yes, so the submarine has to be what we call neutrally buoyant. So there's 3 states of buoyancy. There's positive buoyancy, you always float to the top. There's negative buoyancy, where you always sink. And then there's neutral buoyancy, which is where you stay where you are until you apply an external force to move forward down. So you try to achieve neutral buoyancy, and then you use the planes as 2 little stubby wings, at front and back, to move to change depth underwater. So yes, there is a weight limit, and that's designed. There is an internal ballast tank as well, so they can make the submarine heavier or lighter using that as well. Okay.
So if I walk into the back, this need be more weight on the front to balance out.
So yes, so there are trim tanks. There are tanks of water at either end of the submarine, and we can transfer water between them as well, so that we can make the submarine level. Because sometimes it will go along like that, or go along like that, and then the job of the trim tanks is to keep you level. Because submariners don't like walking uphill to get their breakfast in the morning. From the submarine, we can see we've got 4 torpedo tubes up there for launching our torpedoes. On these submarines, they were pushed out by compressed air, so they were quite noisy. And throughout her service career, this is the kind of torpedo she would have carried over here. This is the Mark 8, and this came into service in 1928, and we used it all the way up until 1985 because it worked. And if you are old enough to remember the Falklands War in 1982, then it was 2 of these that sank the General Belgrano.
Am I right? Was the torpedoes carrying on these rails?
So this rail is for moving the torpedoes into a torpedo tube. This is a torpedo. You see, we've got one this side up here, and this one here. And if you look there behind that gentleman's head, that's one of the trolleys that we use to load the torpedoes, and the other one is hiding behind the onion bag there.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you look in the onion bag back there, it's got lemons in it for the gin and tonic.
I believe this is for you. Oh, sorry. It's the Royal Navy secret.
Yes. Royal Navy used to run gin. The modern SSBNs, the Vanguard class, are all dry now. They don't allow alcohol on board, sadly. Where were we? Oh, so forward torpedo compartment, right. Also used as a bunk space for various extranumeraries, Royal Marines, if they're carrying Royal Marines, trainees, etc. And they would have lived in hammocks. Now, hammocks are very comfortable, I know they are. I did my training patrol sleeping in a hammock, but you're sleeping in a working compartment, you're not in a bunk space. So the lights are on, people are moving around. So as well as having this hammock here, you can see it's fairly low for people to get by underneath you. Remember, there's a layer of boxes as well underneath that. So when you're trying to sleep, people are trying to get by underneath you, and they are elbowing you in the back, and it's not very comfortable at all. But they are more comfortable than those bunks.
Did you serve on any submarine?
I was on nuclear submarines, yeah. Yeah, not these things. Our
You
last
based at Fastlane then?
Yes. And at Rosyth as well, as at Rosyth for a while. I don't know where I was going. Anyway, so
I keep confusing you.
that's all right, no worries. So we have a kayak in here as well. So part of the jobs of submarines is to land Royal Marines where people don't want Royal Marines to be. Alliance was involved in the Borneo campaign in the early 1960s. So that was when Indonesia tried to annex Borneo. Borneo was a British protectorate. We had a battalion of troops there, and we had a couple of submarines doing anti-piracy and landing patrol Marines there as well. Those things are normally kept folded up when they're on board, and when they are, they fit up through the torpedo loading hatch up there, up onto the casing. The Marines can then paddle ashore. I don't know what Marines do, steal all the crayons, and then they can meet them further on down the coast. So she had 5 of these things on board, and there were a dozen Marines messed in here living in hammocks. As you go back through the submarine, the next bit you're going to be in is accommodation space, and under there is the battery compartment. The first mess on the right is the sailor's mess. That's set up as it was in 1947. It's got an 8mm movie projector in there to keep the sailors amused, because sailors getting bored is a bad thing. They get into all kinds of trouble. And also in 1947, Alliance actually set the world record for staying underwater for 30 days by using a snort mask to recharge the batteries and provide fresh air to the crew. That record is long gone. I think the last boat that came in was 204 days that came in, one of the Vanguard boats. The second mess on the right is a stoker's mess, so the ship's mechanics. part of the deck's got away in there, so you can see the battery compartment underneath. The mess after that's Petty Officer's Mess, they're the ship's NCOs. In there is a wreath and a newspaper laid out for the loss of HMS of Frey. So Frey was a sister ship to Alliance, and she was lost in 1950 with all hands off the Channel Islands. It was Alliance that went over to lay a wreath over the spot where she went down for the family. So that's the link back to Alliance. And then the last mess on the right is the engine room artificers. Artificers were the ship's technicians. It's a branch that no longer exists in the Navy. And that's laid out for the top. So up until 1917, I think, the Royal Navy got a top. You got a nice glass of brandy, rum from the Monarch. It's free. And then some bright spark realised it put you over the limit for driving a car. So if you can't drive a car, maybe you shouldn't be driving a nuclear submarine. So they stopped the top, much to the chagrin of many old sailors. And then after that, you'll be in the control room, where my colleague will answer. Oh, actually, I think I'm going to be in the control room, so I'll see you down in the control room, and then I will answer any questions you can think of between here and there.
Okay.
Colin, go. Menu. There is the bunk beds on the left. You can see it's not a lot room, but not very comfortable. And on the right, possibly here, spend the time off from work, watching movies and the lunch or whatever, maybe playing some games, other things. One bunk bed on the top, one bunk bed below. Yeah, it's definitely not a lot of space. Look inside here. Sound like someone having a breakfast. Pipes and isolators everywhere. Yeah, I told you breakfast time. It's full English. And below the floor, you can see there is the batteries. It looks like this was the officers' rooms, which could be sit down having lunch or also sleeping here as well. Down here, so hidden hatch. Well, it's not hidden, just difficult to see. I think this was one of the point where it could go down. There is the batteries and other things underneath this floor. Look at this door. How thick the wires looks like having a huge chaos. Obviously not, but looks like it just came from any average Indian city, where the cables just everywhere and anywhere. This room a lot more comfortable than the bunk beds. Looks like it's an even higher level now. Additional hatch down to below the floor. Right, let's go to the control room.
Hi there, welcome to the control room. If you'd like to look through the periscope, you can look through here.
Have a look, Colin.
You can stand on here, it's safe. You look through there with one eye. Can you see? It's quite difficult to line your eye up on that one, you have to get used to it. Alright, and if you want to come around this one, if you kneel up on if you go around the other side.
Does submariners ever serve on other ships or any other submarines?
No, I did a year on a surface ship before I went into submarines. Some do go back to surface. Yeah, I had a friend who did. He ended up in Kandahar.
It's like so specialised that you...
No, so the way it works is it control room in red lighting. Are you alright if it goes a little bit dark?
Yes.
Yeah? Excuse me. So, So this is the control room in red lighting, and we do this for two reasons. And the first one is so that people's eyes get accustomed to the dark, either before they go to the top of the fin to watch keep at night. So we go into red lighting an hour before sunset and come out an hour after sunrise, or if we look through the periscopes at night.
On there, 53.
And the second reason, which is not as obvious, is that periscopes are dumb, and they will conduct light in either direction. So when it's light outside and dark in here, if you put your hand over the eye, this nice sunny day, you can see the light coming down the periscope on my hand.
Yeah.
Now imagine the other way around, but it's nice bright lights in here and it's dark upstairs, and you raise the periscope, you have a faint little torch a foot above the surface of the sea showing everybody where you are, which is a bit rubbish. So red lighting, though, is a short wavelength and it dies in the length of the tube before it gets to the top. So that's the second reason. Are you all right with a bit of noise?
Yeah.
Yeah? Would you like to hear the general alarm?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's right above your head, sir, so it might be a bit loud. Excuse me. Here we go. So they do that before diving. Nowadays it's a lot less romantic. They just say diving now, diving now. The front of the submarine goes down and then you're underwater. Okay, so should we switch the lights back on? So we have three control positions in here. The steersman sits in that seat there, and he controls the rudder. So he's got a rudder ticker tape and compass rose in front of him. And you also notice he's got his ashtray as well, so he doesn't have to get up to knock the ash off his fag. This guy, so then we've got these two guys here, and they control different planes. So this guy here controls the four planes. Remember we were talking about neutral buoyancy. Did we talk about neutral buoyancy? Yeah, we were talking about neutral buoyancy. So because we're at neutral buoyancy, we can use the four planes to go up and down underwater. And this guy is on the after planes, and he controls the trim. So we're talking about the balance of the submarine. So we can compensate for some of it by using the after planes, which is his job. And then we've got, this is the panel here. This panel here is for all of the ballast tanks, internal and external. So we've got a watchkeeper on there as well. And then that white thing back there, that's the trim pump. That's what actually moves the water between the forward and after trim tanks that we were talking about earlier. Oh, yes, up there, if you see that wooden door frame, that's the captain's cabin. And there's a picture of it over there. And we don't know why the captain's cabin was outside the main pressure hull, but it was.
Possibly for a good reason.
So there would have been a ladder here. Captains think they can levitate, but they can't. Okay, are there any questions about the control room? No? So as you go aft, you're going to see the heads are on the left-hand side. They are all salt water flush to save on fresh water. And well, actually, they don't flush. There's a hose. You wash it down with a hose. On the right is the radio room. And then just before you get to the bulkhead there, on the right is the galley, and on the left is the scullery where they do all the washing up. Then you'll be in the engine room. You'll see the two diesel engines in there. If you're into that kind of thing, they're about 2,300 brake horsepower each. They are custom designed, they're not off the shelf. And then you'll be in the after torpedo compartment, and then you'll be back in the sunshine. Are there any?
That's the radio and radar room. All typewriter and radios. There is a toilet with a huge handbrake, and what I said, it's a toilet's been used for flushing with salty water, seawater, saving the drinking water. Another one, but without handbrake. A little bit narrow in here, and here an additional toilet, but this room has more luxury. It has a little basin as well, and a mirror. It looks like I feel like I'm in the Hilton. More basins here. I need to be careful not to smash my head in anything. Someplace a bit low the ceiling or something hanging down. Switches and things everywhere all around. It looks like this was the sink here, washing up. And behind us, the kitchen. The chef spent all day in this little area. Looks like been cooking something really delicious. If you're very hungry, I'm sure you will eating this. It doesn't look great. And here we are in the engine room now. The two individual 8-cylinder diesel engine. Individually, it was 2,150 horsepower. It's incredible. It's a big engines. And this 2,150 horsepower was on 450 RPM only. So it didn't needed a huge RPM. Also have a 2 electric motor which needed for diving, cruising underwater, which was 650 horsepower. Let's go walk a bit further in the back. There's people coming behind me. This is one cylinder. It's only one cylinder. There is the other cylinder. And this cylinder opened. You can see the sides. Compare my hand. There is the piston. And above the valves. It's huge. And there is the switches for the reverse or electric motor, switch to the electric motors, and other fuses and switches, I believe. And go to the last room, just a rear torpedo room. This HMS Alliance could carry up to 20 torpedoes. Over the torpedo, they've been cut to open. Let's see inside. There is the mechanism which is spinning the propeller. The little petrol engine inside. Additional bed in here. I don't think that couple on the photo they've been served on this submarine. There is the petrol engine, the torpedo, and below there the black one is a smaller torpedo, I believe. There is the torpedo tubes. One is open, loaded with lot beer. I'm sure they will not shooting that out. The buttons which is possibly pressing which one shoot. And there is the beers. And let's go back out to the sunshine. Go and have a look at the front as well of the submarine. That square panels where was end of the torpedo tubes, I believe. Igen. Here's the photo of the condition how it was in 1980s, and here the other one when it was scaffolding all around in 2013 when being refurbed the whole body. We came into the shop now, and other submarine and things in here. You can buy everything which is related to submarines. These model bricks look like a Lego, but it's not Lego brand. You can buy a small one, big one. You can build a little metal model just for display or for little kids. Anything. Other shapes, books for kids, mugs, just anything. Seriously, just anything which is related to submarine or to the navy. And this is an X-24 submarine which been built in 1943. This little submarine is basically been towed by a called mother submarine, the proper submarine, closer to the target or the attacking area. The crew went from the mother submarine to this little submarine and left the mother submarine behind, and they went to shallow water for do the mission. The member of the crew was 3, sometimes 4 when they took a diver with them, and it was sometimes when used the diver for make it a human torpedo. It never used really long, but it was the capacity 1900 kilometer, the range, and up to 14 days water in the submarine. The length of this submarine is only about 16 meters, weight about 26 tons. The deepest dive with this little submarine, they reached 91 meters down. Have a look inside. There is one chair, one bed, controlling things, wheels in the middle. You can see further the front. Actually, it's not big. Imagine it's up to 14 days in here. Submarines are a crazy thing. It has a 42 horsepower diesel engine and also a 30 or 33 horsepower electric motor as well. It's quite big, but it's only 42 horsepower can produce, and behind that huge electric motor, that only 30 horsepower, like I said before. In 1943, these little submarines, 6 of these, had a mission the Norwegian coast. They attacked German ships, but it wasn't really successful because only 2 turned back from the mission. And this one here, this is the last which is existing. They are projecting many different things on the submarine. Something like how the engine or things been working, something what was when was on mission, or just projecting some waves like when goes under the water or in the water. This is how it looked like when I was a captain of the submarine at the Royal Navy. This is one missile It's 5.5 meter long, half a meter diameter, and the range was 1000 miles. It was flying 550 miles per hour. World War II submarines usually dive 120 meter. The modern nuclear submarines diving to 500 meter depth. When Orvin little submarine 4.3 kilometer, and Trieste some deep sea submarine 11.5 kilometer. And here is the Polaris missile, which is the length is nearly 10 meter. The length. The range was 2,800 kilometer. Used this one's between I think 1968 and 1996. 16 tons of this weight, and the top speed of this missile was 8,000 miles per hour. Now going in this building, it's a separate building. It's Royal Navy's first submarine in here. It's called Holland 1. It's a air-conditioned room, and the humidity is always same. Always checking is they try keeping the submarine's condition in the current level. Double door for airlock. This is a chain testing machine. This machine tested the load-bearing equipment, chains and anchors for every submarine built in the Barrow shipyard from 1901 through to the 2010s. It tested the point at which the chains made in the Barrow foundry would break under tension. This machine tested up to the weight of 200 tons. Right, go through the next door and have a look at the Holland 1 submarine. This submarine 125-year-old. Here is the HMS Holland 1. 125 years ago, in 1900, when first put in the water. This was the Royal Navy's first ever submarine. In 1913, wind toved and something happened and went under the water, sunk, and stayed there until 1982. Conservation work was between 1982 and 1988. The full length of the Holland 1, it's 19 meter, the weight is 105 tons. This is a drawing of the submarine. You can see how was looked like inside, where people worked. So like what I said, the crew of 9 who performed the following tasks. Lieutenant was the commanding officer, was other sub-lieutenant. Steering and navigation was someone who diving and steering, torpedo instructor, chef engineering, artificial operating the engine and electric motor, leading stoker working on the engine, stoker working on the engine, leading seaman assisting the torpedo instructor, and able seaman, the general sailor's duties. Also was mice kept on the board. I think I did say before, it's a air-conditioned building, and they try keeping the humidity always the same. There in the cage you can see the mice. Here is the electric motor in front of us. A couple of switches for operating. I think it's a clutch system between the electric motor and the petrol. And there is the petrol engine. You can see it's a long time under the sea in the salty water. It's just destroyed everything. Petrol engine with 160 horsepower, electric motor which produced 70 horsepower. Go and have a look at the back, the propeller and the steerings. This is one of the battery cell which rescued from the submarine from 1982 obviously, and they've been cleaned and try a bit reconditioning the battery, give a bit charge, and it's fully working. It was under the deck, the batteries. It was altogether 60 cells, 60 of these. After 1988, when the conservation work was finished, they started again. It'd been tested down to 30 meter diving, that was the maximum, and the range was 37 kilometer only. There is the torpedo hatch, the front. That cap was open when they shoot the torpedo. Obviously wasn't this doorway on the side of the submarine before. They just got that here for able to visit, because normally just up on the top was a hatch where you can go in or out the submarine. Here is the torpedo tube and some controlling things, mechanism which somehow survived. So when they built this submarine, not really had any experience how can build and what will be the condition when submerged, go under the water. They just built this. Obviously was a couple of tests and learned how can steer, how can use, how can dive, coming back, and just everything about, because wasn't any experience. It could be scary working in here under the sea. It's the hatch. I'm not sure what you can see. Just push up the camera. Go a bit further in. And there is the petrol engine again. I show you from inside now. You can see the size, it isn't small. And next to the engine and the screen, they made a CGI for created something how was the life on this submarine inside, outside, how when was working. Good job, the camera, it's very small, so I can push in any little hole. You can see the little details between the outer and inner shell. I believe it's the top wheel above the torpedo tube that was opening, that was the mechanism for opening or closing the hatch, the cap on the end of the torpedo tube outside. Look at the surface, how rough. I'm sure when it was new it was quite smooth. This was the Submarine Museum here from Gosport. Hope you liked the video. If you liked, please subscribe on my channel and press a like and share your friends. Maybe someone else will be interested to watch. So thanks for watching. Bye.